I'm looking at the crude oil prices because we've seen 7% of gains come in for this week after 4 weeks of decline, really. So not only are we holding above $70 a barrel, but today seems to be yet another day where we are holding in the green for this one. Peter McGuire of XM Australia is with us to take that conversation forward. Peter, hi. When you look at the decline in inventories in US for gasoline and distillate and jet fuel as well, it tells you that the demand really seems to be picking up.
Well, exactly, and good afternoon, Manisha. I think so. I mean, you're entering, like it or not, we're in the middle of May nearly, and it's summer driving season about to start. And you've got the end of COVID, so in turn, I think everyone's going to be on the road, and they're going to be making up for lost years as far as domestically travelling. And so in turn, consumption, I think, is really going to be, hit up strongly across the US and Northern Hemisphere. So it's a strong sign, and it's been a wild couple of weeks and dynamic trading. It's been fantastic.
Oh, absolutely. There also are reports of some pipe disruption between Canada and US. I mean, do you see that adding a lot of premium to prices?
Well, it does. Any disruptive concerns as far as pipelines or anything like that always contain a degree or a premium built in. So, I'm not surprised. And we've just got to see how that plays out. Also, I think you're looking at, that stickiness as far as inflation numbers, the reads. So, it's been, I think all those ingredients have been a stronger push up.
Peter, also, how are you deciphering the strategic petroleum reserve statements that US keeps throwing from time to time? As of now, we understand that the 140 million barrels that they were going to release is not going to be released. I mean, clearly the markets are looking at that as a positive, but at some point in time, they will also need to start buying from the market.
Well, exactly right. I mean, and they're saying, and what's the timescale going to be? Is it going to be closer to the end of the year? Is it going to be, that over the summer period, Northern Hemisphere summer? So these are all concerns that, when they start to build and they start to buy, then I think that's going to also force prices higher. So, there's a lot of, I think there's chances you could be seeing higher pricing over the next matter of a month or two.
And what's your sense from the macros? Because we've seen US Fed, ECB and the Bank of Australia also already increase rates, and Bank of England happens today now.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, it's 11 straight for the POMs. If they knock this one over, Manisha, that'll be the magic dozen as far as consecutive rate rises. The other three knocked it up, and I wouldn't be surprised that probably there's even further to go for the Aussies in the Eurozone. Let's sit and see where Jay Powell runs. And as far as the stickiness with inflation, over 10% for the POMs. So, it's a very tough time they're having over there. And I think that these are all concerns looking at the big macro picture and, the inflationary side.
Okay, so 2-point question. One, what's your sense then for the crude oil prices now with the kind of volatility that we've seen? And two, there are various international reports now suggesting that India is the refining hub for much of the world. I mean, we are importing cheaper crude, refining and exporting petroleum products at a record level.
Well, I'm not surprised as far as India's, and that side of it, Manisha. I mean, that's been a work in progress for many years, and that's got, nothing surprises me with India. So that's a good sign, and that's going to be better for, creation of jobs and all parts of the consumption chain. And when you're looking at the big picture price-wise, I wouldn't be surprised to see it have a leg up from here. It's volatile, it's wild. And I think there's probably a few more bucks in it yet till the end of the month. I wouldn't be surprised putting on a little bit further. You got 77 for Brent. I think it'll be over 80 by end of the month.
Peter, also, how are you looking at the gas prices? Because the first 3 months didn't go down so well, but the markets are hoping, even anticipating a strong summer air conditioning demand. When do you see that start coming into prices?
I think it's probably, you got, again, hotter weather coming through and all of that. So the demand picture as far as draw for air conditioning and for everything across the states. So, I wouldn't be surprised that it will also rally to the upside. It was massively sold off and it's just being held underwater at the moment. I think it's like you hold a basketball underwater, Manisha, eventually you can't stop it. It's going to release and it bounces. And this is what's going to happen, I'm pretty sure, as far as nat gas is concerned.
And do you see the dollar index then going underwater?
Sorry?
Do you see the dollar index going underwater, if I may use that?
Yes, I do see it going underwater. And I see it, you're currently sitting at around that, 101. You got everything's been quite strongly bid up. And I think that there's further softness there for that US dollar index, still sitting at 101.65, well back from 114 in October. So I think it's in a downdraft, Manisha, and I think it's got further downside yet. I won't be surprised to see it under 100 over the next, say, 4 to 6 weeks.
All right, Peter, Manisha, trust an Australian to use a sporting reference to even explain something like commodities. Peter, you spoke about basketball, which bounces back if you try to dunk it too much in water. But the cricket ball doesn't. Which commodity do you think is a cricket ball right now, which sinks once it's going down? I still have my eyes very focused on gold because I think that best days are ahead of it. So I still think that it's price sensitive and it's cheap, and I think there's plenty of upside yet.